how you balance both things? Because
think,
that's a lot of work.
Right. I think the key, which is, I know you all know the answer, is having great people work with you. Right? It's
That's
always important to pick the people who have the capability, the capacity to execute what it is we all agree that we're going to execute, and move forward to have that independence to do certain things, but then to stay on course. So that has allowed me to be able to accomplish quite a bit on behalf of our people. But you're right, as the area representative, the title says it, right? You represent an area. And our area from the east includes the Keys, right? Tobacco Key, Southwater Key, Coco Plum, all those keys in front of Dangriga. It includes all of Dangriga from north at Pelican, all the way south by Holy Ghost, and then up the road, Sarawee is the first village, and then Hope Creek. So it's that whole community. That's a close-knit community, even though you have Sarawee, and because people come in, all the kids go to school there, and so, you know, you have families that marry in, and so it's while there are villages out there, you know, there's still that level of connection.
Urban Dangriga.
Yes, in a sense, right? So I'm honored, I'm privileged to be representing our people, and and I'm grateful to Prime Minister Briceño and my colleagues in cabinet, in the House. We've worked well together, and we've been able to deliver quite a bit on what we had promised we were going to do. But it can't be done alone. You have to be able to give of yourself as much as you can, so that others will also freely share what they have with you.
Yeah, and certainly as you look at some of the accomplishment within your area in education, seemingly there is quite a number of areas. I know you've documented some of the areas and so maybe those kind of, for our viewers and listeners, to get a feel of how impactful your representation has been.
Well, thank you for the opportunity. I've prepared this little flyer here, well, my team, and in here we talk about what we've done in education with land distribution, housing, jobs, social assistance, sports and youth programs, streets and parks, cultural support, safety, and then what are the things we're planning to do going forward.
Yeah.
So I'd like to thank my team for putting this together. And again, at the back, I want to start where I say that we are grateful to Prime Minister Briceño and our hard-working cabinet for implementing Plan Belize and for benefiting our constituency. We say there, thank you, Sareme, muchas gracias, because without that, it would not have been possible, right?
Yeah.
And of course, we thank God for the opportunity, for the health and strength to be able to do this on a day-to-day basis. Thank my family, all those who have been so supportive over these years.
Yeah.
But when you say we have the brochure in hand, but there are those who are not seeing. What are some of the highlights?
I just wanted to set that stage, right? Because it's important to make that very clear. That what we're saying, a lot has gone into this, but a lot of people have also contributed to it, right? So in education, fortunately, I mean, I have the privilege of working in the Ministry of Education. But even so, our senior minister has been very fair across the whole country, right? So I have also come in with a background in education and in business. So that has been a passion of mine from day one. So, you know, we've been pushing in this area. We've done over 600 scholarships to primary, secondary, and tertiary institutions. We're happy that in the second year of the Together We Rise program for free education for high schools. 2 are in my constituency, Anri and Delil. And we used a formula of looking at the schools that are in most need, right? So we started Southside Belize City, and then you know that Dangriga has had many of the afflictions of Southside Belize City, right?
Significant area for you. Building human capacity and sustainability.
Indeed, indeed. So if we think about what has the world been doing, what have we all been doing as Earth, if you will, right, in this solar system with a fly through space. I always remember, just as an aside, talking about space, when I was talking to Dr. Arley about understanding what this universe, what we understand the universe to be doing right now. And he said, imagine a balloon, right? A balloon, and you blow it and it go out like that, right? So it depends on where you are within this sphere. So if you're at this point, the universe is continuously expanding. So as you blow the balloon, you move in this direction. If this is your solar system, and if your solar system there, you're moving and you're just expanding out, right? Continuously. Everything is dynamic, right? We're moving around the sun and the moon, they move around we have eclipse now and again. So all of that we don't think of, but that is what is occurring.
Yeah.
The reality, the physical reality of what we're experiencing. And so we have to have a certain mindset, right? About what we are as a human race, who we are. What are we doing on this earth? What are we as have done, and what have we agreed to continue to do? So the United Nations is one of those places where countries come together to look at what it is we want to do as humanity. You have other such institutions, maybe the Catholic religion or other religions. You bring people from all over the world, and you're advancing your values and your principles. All the other religions that we could think of, and so forth. In the United Nations system, back in 1990, the conversation started about what it is that we're doing with ourselves. Previous to that, in 1987, there was a report prepared called the Brundtland Report. The Brundtland Report took about 4 years to prepare, as all leaders from around the world came together, all the continents, looking at various issues, economic issues, social issues, environmental issues. So we ended up with three pillars, so to speak. And then they decided, well, this is what we want to see going forward. So we ended up with the Millennium Development Goals, right? Remember that, right? That ended in 2015.
Yeah.
That was succeeded by the Sustainable Development Goals that we now have, the 17 of those, right? And that encompasses things we want to do in health, in education, in security, right? In institutions. So now we have 4 pillars. We have economic issues, we have social issues, right? We have environmental issues, but now we also have institutional issues. So all of this now thinking falls under one area called sustainable development. Okay? But what we have there are goals. It's not necessarily, there's no prescription on how to achieve the goals. It is left now to the countries to decide how you're going to attain these climate change goals, right? How you're going to give better living standards to your people, etc., etc. That's one thinking, sustainable development. Parallel to that, interestingly occurring out of the UN as well, is another area called human development. Now you have people there now who are giving you prescriptions on how to get there in terms of a framework of thinking, right? On how do we achieve, because why do we have these 17 goals? It's for the welfare of humanity and the welfare of the whole globe, right? All the other organisms that are on this planet, so that we can then look forward into the next generations, that we're not stealing from the future, but that hopefully each generation can use what it needs to use, but then create an environment, a situation that the others can have maybe even more than we had, right? Human development, the champion there was Amartya Sen, okay, who had got the Nobel Prize for his work. So what Amartya Sen said was, I want to challenge neoclassical economics, what me and Brother Troy studied, right? When we studied that, we were studying people like Milton Friedman, we were studying Robert Solow, way back to Adam Smith, right? And out of that, the prescriptions that came out of it were quantitative in many respects, right? So what's your GDP? How do we calculate the size of what you have dollar-wise, right? The things that you're producing. Then how many people do you have? GDP per capita. And then all the policies, the World Bank, IMF, all of these institutions would say, I will measure you based on how your GDP is going, how your GDP per capita even is going, right? But then Amartya Sen, Sudhir, Anand, and other people came and said, but that's not good enough, because you might be having a growing GDP per capita, right, even so, on the numbers, but the disparities can be, in fact, increasing, right? In other words, it is going to a smaller and smaller group of people. On the local level, in Dangriga, I have an incredible staff. You all would know Miss Debbie Jones, right? We work very well. The chair of our executive, Lena Bernardus, teacher, very hardworking, and our entire executive. We have a couple teachers who are working with us. The people who have stepped up to the plate, I'm so grateful to them for everything that they're doing on a day-to-day basis. We have a great mayor and a new council who are all working. All we have to do is to be humble, continue to work hard, try to learn from each other, right? Give credit where credit is due, because I could easily sit here and say, oh, the me, the dollar. No. A lot of people are working very hard. And that's important for us to give the credit where it's due. And then, like I said at the presentation, Dr. Rene, something that I learned from you, that we forgive and then we love.
That's right.
So with that, I say thank you all very, very much.
Certainly want to thank Dr. Louis Zabaneh, Minister of State in the Ministry of Education,
Dr. Zabaneh, for being here.
Culture, Science and Technology, for joining us this morning and starting the week off with a bang.
I enjoyed the discussion, really.
Thank you so much.
It's right up your alley, especially with your new investiture. Right up your alley. Well, Doc, have a great week and continue the heavy lifting that you're doing at this point in time.
Thank you for having me.